This video review is brought to you by BigBadToyStore.com. BigBadToyStore.com, your #1 source for toys. What's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at Transformers Age of Extinction Voyager class Hound. This highly anticipated figure is, I am very happy to say, pretty darn awesome. He is definitely different than Voyager class Galvatron, and as you can see, he is much shorter, but that is not a detriment at all. His color scheme of silver, gray, gold, black, and green really make the figure work, and he doesn't have anything out of the ordinary for a Transformers figure sticking off of him. There's no real out-of-place kibble. There's nothing crazy about this figure. It just looks like a very solid robot mode. Now, we'll talk about his armaments in a little bit, but I want to talk about the figure itself first. He has some excellent posability, which is highlighted in his arms, being multi-jointed. There are swivels and hinges everywhere, but, you know, these figures, they're really well done. You could get a lot of poses, a lot of hinges, a lot of twisting out of this guy. But what makes this figure really neat is he's pretty well balanced. He could use some bigger heels, but that's not really that big a deal because he just looks stocky and short. And as one of my friends on Twitter has said, he is a weapon-packed John Goodman. That is the best description for this character that I could ever think of. Now, there is a little bit of question about his arms and his beard. We'll talk about the beard in a minute. His arms, or I should say his forearms, are molded in very, very soft plastic. They're supposed to be magazine, or I should say bullet magazines that make up his forearms. But if you look underneath his forearms, you can see that there is a solid piece of plastic running from the elbow up to the wrist. So don't worry about the arm or the plastic really breaking. In fact, you could cut the plastic off, and the figure will look a little weird proportion-wise, but he'll be just fine. Hound's head sculpt is probably one of my favorite head sculpts ever. It's simple, but very, very cool. He does not possess any light piping whatsoever, but his eyes are painted in that wonderful jazz-like blue, and his beard is made out of rubber. He has a soft, rubbery beard, and his helmet is also that same material. So I do worry about the long-lasting ability of the beard and helmet, but as long as you take care of the figure, I think it'll be okay. I mean, he has a molded beard, for crying out loud, and they're molded out of bullets. Now, armament-wise, Hound comes with a very large Bowie knife, 2 very large hand cannons that have fold-up stocks, so 2 of these. Actually, they're more like grenade launchers. 2 blasters, I think. 2 guns. And then, just because he can, a collection of miniguns. Ironhide, eat your heart out. Fully armored up, Hound is incredibly awesome looking. I mean, he's storing a knife on his chest, and he's storing 2 guns in his boots. I don't know what else to say. He is just absolutely awesome. This robot mode has some minor top heaviness issues, but with all the guns and all the accessories and just the overall look of the character, he just is freaking rad. And I was asked on Twitter if any of these standard deluxe generation figures can hold any of Hound's weapons. The answer is yes. Yes, they can. Quite easily, in fact. Now, the fun with Hound's weapons doesn't end there. In fact, they can all combine into one OMFG WTF barbecue gun. And I think that's pretty cool, in all honesty. I really do. I think that is very, very cool, and I'm completely screwing it up, but there are a couple of ways to do it. So we start with the main gun, and then the little canister guns, or I guess they would, I'm not sure what kind of gun these would be. They combine and you attach the knife, and then put that underneath those guys underneath the minigun, like that. And then these grenade launchers get one of these guys attached to the front, and then they attach to the back of the minigun, like so. And then you wind up with this giant thing of death and destruction. It works for me. As you can see, Hound has no trouble holding all of the gun things. This is just crazy. And this works so well for him. Hound's transformation is easy but satisfying. To start off with, we're going to come to the middle section of the figure and detach the legs. There's a hinge in there, and bring him all the way forward to the front of his hips, like that. And then we'll take the arms and point the arms back up at the sky, like that, and turn them so that the forearms are pointing to the outside of the figure, and then we can actually peg the arms, or the forearm section, the green section, into these little pegs at the top of his shoulders. And sometimes it wants to go easily, sometimes you just kind of have to fiddle with it. Then unpeg the entirety of his shoulders from the back, and they snap into the mirror, or what will be the mirrors in the side view mirrors in vehicle mode. And fold them all the way down and around. So the figure is kind of standing like this now. Then take the chest and pull the chest forward a little bit. That will free up the head to flip around. And take the wheels and flip them out. Flip the head up underneath the canopy in truck mode. And fold the arms just out a little bit from the back of the vehicle. The chest will fold down, and then another section will flip around from inside the chest. And then flip that down and collapse the arm sections onto it. Peg the arm sections into themselves. Then take the feet and rotate the feet so that the feet are pointing in towards the legs, and then slide them up and snap them into place. So he is a little bit of a shell former, but all the shell pieces make up part of the robot mode, unlike Galvatron. And here we have the vehicle mode. This is a really nice representation of this vehicle mode, who I see these vehicles actually all the time now because I live between two military bases. It's a very nice little solid vehicle mode. It works for me. Oh, and did I forget to mention you can store all of his guns in vehicle mode too? So to store his guns, first off, those two smaller handguns will actually fit inside his boots and will store down here in vehicle mode. I have the one, it's a little loose, but it'll stay just fine. The other ones will peg in all around the vehicle mode. So the knife, well, the knife really doesn't go anywhere, so we can put that off to the side for right now. But the canister guns get pegged in on these leg parts on either side. And then these launchers, or grenade launchers, will peg into the right side of the vehicle mode. Both of them will, though neither of them really peg in all that tightly because of the nature of the kibble. So you push the kibble, you peg it in, but the kibble flexes a little bit. So you just got to be careful. So they'll peg in over there, and then finally the minigun, pull the minigun, the bottom barrel down like that, and then once it snaps, you could slide it over to the side, and then this whole section, or this whole thing, will peg in right here, like that. And the barrels line up with the barrel of this little guy. So here we have the vehicle mode decked out with all of the weapons. Very, very cool. And you can fiddle with the knife, and you can put it pretty much anywhere you can find a spot for it. Sometimes I can get it in the little hole here in the back of the vehicle mode. Sometimes it'll fit, sometimes it won't. I just haven't really found a great place for the knife. I guess you could just put it right here in the front. That'll work too. So, yeah, that works for me. Still, very, very cool. I am very happy with this Hound figure. I was not expecting this guy to be as awesome as he turned out to be. And I'll be honest, I'm rather disappointed with Galvatron as a figure, but Hound more than makes up for it. He's fun. He is so much fun. It has what Galvatron was lacking, and that's a fun factor. And as you see, all the Kibbly bits actually have a purpose. They don't just all fold up into the backpack. I mean, everything folds and connects and stays together well, and it's just an interesting looking character, and it's a fun toy. I think kids are going to really like this, and I know the collectors are really going to like this. This is just a solid kickin' figure that really belongs in your collection. The only complaint I have is I think the knees are a little loose, but I could probably fix that by tightening these screws and maybe playing around with the pins. But other than that, the figure is just pretty much perfect. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video review of Transformers Age of Extinction, Voyager class Autobot Hound. I've been Baltmatrix, and I'll catch you next time.